It'll just take a moment. Okay, we are now live. We can go ahead and start the meeting. We've got a couple of call-ins that I'm gonna just take a moment. Admit. Okay, okay, sorry about that.
Would you like me to convene the meeting now and answer any public comments?
Yep, you sure can.
We will call this specially convened meeting of the Downtown Development Authority, the Charter Township of Commerce to order. We will ask for any comments from any interested parties, and please ask that you identify yourself prior to speaking.
So I do see that we have two callers on the line. If you would like to make a public comment, you can press *9 on your keypad, which will raise your hand and let us know that you'd like to make a public comment. And no one has raised their hand so far. So I would say it looks like we don't have anyone wishing to make a public comment.
No, yeah, actually, Ben, I do.
Okay, I'm
Randy?
sorry. Go ahead, Randy.
So anyhow, there's been some phone calls, emails, whatnot. I think Deb is uniquely qualified based on her proposal to take over, the next steps with what goes on with the DDA. I've worked with Deb for a long time, both through Mark and with Kathleen. And quite honestly, from my position of, how I see things, I really don't see that she is at any less detriment than her predecessors walking into this, this spot. And I would suggest that the DDA, give her this opportunity, and let's see what Deb can do. I have a whole lot of faith in her.
Thank you very much, Randy. I'm in concurrence with your statement. Are there any other members of the DDA who would like to speak to that issue?
Dan Lublin, I'm 100% in concurrence. Deb is the right one to fill the shoes.
Thank you, Dan. Any other parties?
I'd like to say I'm probably the newest member to this group, and I will tell you that I think I think Debbie is fantastic. She does a great job. It's taken a long time for me to get any kind of continuity to understanding what's been going on. I mean, I've been here almost 2 years, and Deb has an institutional knowledge that goes back farther than probably half of us, at least, I'm guessing, but certainly way farther than me. I don't know how we could do without her, to be honest with you. I don't know anyone who would be better. And frankly, I'm not even sure why we would spend time calling her interim. We should probably just make her the next chairperson. That's what I would do. But
I agree with that 100%.
Thank you, Steve. I concur.
I would like to say something, Jim.
Yes, please, Jose.
I agree with Randy and Danny and Stephen. I think that she's the perfect interim director. But I understand that by law, we are supposed to post his position. So I am 100% in agreement that she should be the acting director for 30, 60, or 90 days. But once again, I understand that by law, we have to post that position.
Right. I think it was noticed today as an interim issue, but Tom, maybe you can tell us, if we have to post it for some period of time and or interview other candidates, what's the requirement?
I don't think the statute or our bylaws require it. And as I understand it, the township board did not impose any particular conditions other than the DDA board's recommendation. But I also understand it was approved at the township board subject to, as an interim appointment, subject to the DDA board's recommendation. So I think first it's the proposal for an interim director. And I'll check in to be sure, but I don't believe that either the DDA statute or the bylaws require a particular procedure for naming the director.
Well,
And
Councilor
Tom, my
Zanetta,
understanding of the township board was that they really didn't have a say necessarily in who we chose, only the budget portion of it. And maybe a representative of the board is here, can speak to that, or Larry can talk
I
to us
don't-
about that.
I don't think that's correct, Steve. I think that the director, I don't have the information in front of me because I'm using the computer for this meeting, but the director is designated, I think, by the chief executive officer, by the supervisor, and is subject to the approval
Okay.
of the township board.
Larry has his hand up.
So first of all, I want to check, did we close public comments in this?
Yes, I believe public comments have been closed.
Okay, I didn't hear that. Okay. So from what we've been told, the way it happens is that the DDA board will select the next DDA director. And then once you folks, or we as a group, select the next DDA director, we will go to the township board for approval of that person. So what the township board approved, or did, what we suggested, is that we are backing Deb for an interim timeline of 90 days to be the interim director of the DDA. We recommend that. We have her approval, but it's up to the DDA board to make that decision. So if we're discussing this right now, what I would like to do is I'd like to make that motion that DDA board recommend having Deb Watson be the interim director for the next 90 days for the Downtown Development Authority.
Second.
I'll make that motion, Dan Lublin, that Deb Watson be the interim director for the next 90 days and send it off to the township board.
Motion then is
No.
Lublin, the motion's from Gray, with support by Lublin.
Second.
Second. Yeah, there you go.
All right, is there further discussion?
So I'm sorry, Jim, could you repeat that? We're saying Gray made the motion, correct?
Yes, Larry Gray made the motion and it was supported by Dan Lublin.
Great, thank you.
Okay. So I guess we could probably take a roll call vote at this point.
Okay, I want
I
to jump
think-
in real quick here and just, sound what I have to say on this, which is that I understand that the township board approved her as an interim, and I think that that's important. And I think that when people are talking about this position, although I'll be the first one to say I'm 190% behind Deb having this position permanently, it's always a good idea to post so that people can't throw any rocks at the appointment.
Exactly.
Okay, and then you can review the postings and very quickly say, oh, none of them have worked for the DDA for a gazillion years like Deb. So no, nobody was even qualified enough to interview. We went ahead and appointed her. It's a really good form to follow, just to make everybody comfortable with the appointment.
Right.
Which,
So-
as I said, I'm more than comfortable with, but there's a public at large that has to be satisfied as well. And they deserve to be able to throw their hat in the ring in case on that 1,000,000 to 1 chance there was someone that was better. We at least took a look. We weren't remiss in our duties. We didn't rush into anything, even though this is just a horrific and horrifying and sudden situation. We kept our cool. We made her interim. And we'll review anyone who is interested, and should anyone come forward in the next 90 days, and confident that no one else will that is anywhere near qualified as Deb, we'll go ahead and appoint her permanently, which is what I would like to see happen. But I think that there's a form. It's etiquette. It's good business. It's just the way that things ought to be done. The other thing that I want to say is that Deb, being as competent as she is, has a tendency to overextend herself. And I want to make sure that whoever is going to manage this situation with and for her, make sure that she has support and a secretary and is not taking notes at a meeting, that she is the director. and those kinds of things. I know that her proposal said that she doesn't need a secretary right away. I am vehemently disagreeing with that part of it. That part I think could not be more wrong. All due respect, Deb. You absolutely have to have support in order to do the job properly. I want you to do the job the way that I know that you can do it, and you need the tools to do the job. I wouldn't ask you to change a tire without a jack, and I'm not asking you to do this job without a secretary. Okay, that's what I had to say. That's how I wanted to weigh in. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Are there any further discussions?
Well, so my question would be then is, and Susan, I agree with you 100%. That's exactly why we're taking these steps, so that if there is anybody better, which that will find in Deb, we have that 90 days to post a job and interview. But it's very important that we carry on the DDA business, and Deb's the best one to do at this time. I guess my question is what you just mentioned. You know, there is a proposal out, and that's what the township board, again, the township board approved, or we're backing this decision, that we're going to stay within the budget. So if we're going to get her a secretary and stuff, we need to figure that out, Deb, because we need to make sure we stay within the budget of where we're at. Because I believe her proposal was 35 hours a week,
Right.
which puts us right above budget. So we need to figure that out.
Yeah, the proposal, at that point, when we look at an assistant, I would adjust my hours and we would make sure that we stayed in budget. So we can go over that in detail together, Larry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful that we can get this not in 90 days. I mean, hopefully this process will only be 30 to 45 days where this doesn't become an issue. But I think we're following the proper steps here to fulfill this position.
Does it make sense to post for a replacement for Deb's position now at the same time? So she has a secretary that we can, line up right away.
Well, that's fine.
So you post for both.
And I guess it would be, again, the proposal was, her doing both spots until she received the director's position. So I think we need to, how can I say? I think we need to have her in the position as a director for her to hire her assistant. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I'm not opposed. I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Right.
In the meantime, she's going to do both jobs and she's going to be compensated for each?
Correct, yes.
Right.
Okay.
But if you post for both, she can then interview immediately. She has a list of candidates ready, without
Right.
delay.
Well,
Yes, okay.
I was just gonna say, if you post for both and then something happens and the board doesn't approve Deb and you've hired somebody else for her administrative position, then where do you go?
Good point.
I
Yeah, we
think
would-
that
we
because
wouldn't-
they
we wouldn't
already
hire a
approved her
replacement.
as an interim, that we have a fair amount of confidence that they would approve her as a permanent replacement.
Yeah, I don't think we'd hire a replacement for Deb until Deb has got the permanent job, but you have the applicants lined up and she can then do the interviews, and it was just trying to get it all out at once.
Okay.
Are there any further comments? As a personal note, basically, I doubt that we would possibly find a rock to look under to find someone who had the capacity, understanding, and acquiescence that Debbie has. So I think it would be almost an exercise in futility to try and find a replacement to assume the duties of director. I would think that and hope that we probably proceed in an expeditious and legal manner to fulfill our obligations here. With that said, if anyone else has any other comments, we will entertain them prior to taking the roll call vote. Deb, would you want to reread the motion?
Pretty far up there. Give me a moment.
All right. Got to multitask and you got to do.
Yeah, there was so much discussion that I'm truly digging for it right now. Okay, Larry, what I'd like to do is make that motion for the DDA board to recommend having Deb Watson be the interim director for 90 days for the DDA. And that was seconded by Lublin.
Are there any further discussions or amendments to motion? Hearing none, we'll entertain a roll call vote. Deb?
Gray,
Yes.
Lublin,
Yes.
Hoy, I'm sorry, did he make it on?
I don't think he did.
Nope, I don't think so. Okay, Spelker,
Aye.
Smith,
Absolutely.
thank you. Gotts,
Aye.
Merkin,
Aye.
Winkler,
Aye.
Nada.
Aye.
Motion carried unanimously. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Maintain your sanity while you get through this transition.
Definitely.
And I don't know where you're going to find a qualified assistant, but I'm certainly hopeful that you're successful in that pursuit.
I have a few ideas, so we'll explore those.
Good. Is there any other business? There's none on the
Looking
agenda.
forward,
You can't.
looking forward to work with you, Deb. You'll
I
make
have
a great director.
Thank you,
I have
Dan.
one question.
Certainly. Go
And-
ahead, Susan.
Deb and I talked about this today, and I think she was going to talk to Tom Roush. We need a president for the Commercetown Place Homeowners Association. Because Mark was the president of the HOA, and I'm the treasurer of the HOA. But we need somebody who can sign the tax return and all of that stuff.
Would-
The,
Okay, do you have a recommendation, Molly?
Well, I don't know what the procedure is. I don't know if Deb was talking about sending out a consent agenda to the other members of the homeowners association to pick somebody, and I don't know what the procedural part of that is. You know, we usually do a consent when we have to send out the budget and stuff, but that's also something that needs to be done.
We can't make a decision
Question
ourselves.
of council. Tom, does that party, do they have to live within the district there?
remember that the association is a separate legal entity, Michigan Nonprofit Corporation. And the association has been managed with the with the cooperation of the other members, has been managed by Mark and Molly as treasurer. And I believe as Deb as secretary of the association, but that's a separate entity, of course. So that entity would select the person to replace Mark as president. And because I don't think there'll be any objection to it, as Mark was the director and he was the president, I would certainly recommend that a consent action be circulated to the board of directors of the association, appointing Deb as president of the association now for this time period. If for any reason, unlikely as it is, that Deb didn't continue, you could change the presidency to someone else later. Remember that we, the DDA, we used to own 100% of the property, which is subject to the Commercetown Place Condominium Association. Now we own well less than 50%, and a combination of Jim Galbraith's Barrington property and the commercial unit adjacent, together with Bruce Aiken's Phase 1, Unit 13, we no longer are a controlling party. My recollection is that Mark told me that he spoke to the parties, a number of the other members. I don't know if he actually spoke to the Windcliff and Merrill Park board of director members, but he did speak, I believe, with Jim Galbraith and speaking on behalf of Barrington and with Bruce, and they were supportive of having the DDA and Mark continue in this position for the interim for the near future. So with all that said, I think it would probably be appropriate to recommend that when Deb is appointed as interim director of the DDA. She also can be appointed by, not by us, but by the association directors as the president of the association. I don't think it's the greatest honor to be the president of an association, but we probably should twist Deb's arm now to say that she will take it if we make her.
Debbie, are you amenable to that postulation?
I am, and that was included in my proposal too. Yes, that was on the second page, and I know that's a big part of the responsibility, so I take
Thank you,
great pride.
Counselor.
Yeah,
Are
yes,
there any
thank you.
further discussion? Call a vote.
The vote's already been called, I think.
Yeah, the vote's been
All right,
called.
okay.
I
Motion
don't think we actually vote on the Commerce Town Place president appointment for that. We recommend it to them. We can put that in the minutes, but
All
I
right,
don't think we need to take action, right,
that's
Tom?
fine. That's fine.
Right, correct.
Well, thank you all for making time this evening to be here and for all of your support. I truly appreciate it. Thank
Well,
you.
we need a motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Second,
All right, motion and support Lublin. All in favor?
aye.
Opposed?
No, we need a roll call vote for anything in the Zoom meeting.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay,
Was that Gray who made the motion?
Yes.
Lublin,
Aye.
Stelker,
Aye.
Smith,
Yes.
Gotts,
aye.
Merkin,
Aye.
Winkler,
Aye.
Nada.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, good night, everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and end the meeting by Zoom.
Thank you all
Bye, all.
for paying
Congratulations, Deb.
attendance.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
Bye-bye.
thank you all.